There is less than a month to go until the first NDP leadership debate, and so far, only one candidate has officially joined the race so far. Peter Julian made the announcement earlier this month in British Columbia, where he spoke out against high tuition fees, income inequality, and major pipeline projects. The former party House leader is well known for his community activism, but his run for leadership means his next task is going to be to rebuild a party that has lost support in recent polls. Peter Julian is joining us this morning. Hello to you.
Good morning.
All right, let me start off, first of all, with an interesting fact I learned about you. Not only are you bilingual, but you are also functional in American Sign Language. It's a really unique skill to hold. Why did you learn it?
Well, I worked with people with disabilities, deaf and hard of hearing British Columbians when I ran the Western Institute for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing. So what we did is provided a bridge for people with disabilities into the job market, and also provided a whole range of services. And it was a bilingual environment, English, American Sign Language. So even though my sign language is not very good at all, I was able to communicate with the deaf employees.
Oh, thank you for explaining that to me. All right. In the last election, we saw the NDP do a strong pull towards the centre. You lost a lot of support. What are you going to do to rebuild?
Well, I've been talking to a lot of New Democrats and folks outside the NDP over the last few months, and what we need to do is put forward bold ideas. I'm a regular guy. I worked in a factory and in service jobs and an oil refinery before I went back to school and became a financial administrator. So what I see in Ottawa is that the preoccupations of regular families just seems to be forgotten. We're seeing more and more seniors that are homeless. We're seeing more and more young Canadians who can't go on to university or college or trade school. And so the kind of bold ideas that we put forward last week were things like opening the doors to post-secondary education, eliminating tuition fees like so many countries have done, so that we can stimulate our economy by having a lot of highly trained workers in the job market, and to make sure that every Canadian has a roof over their head. There'll be tens of thousands of Canadians across the country, many of them with disabilities, sleeping outside tonight, and that's simply unacceptable in a country as rich as ours.
Mr. Julian, when you made your leadership announcement in the riding of New Westminster earlier this month, you pledged that you were going to create jobs while also opposing pipelines like the Trans Mountain Pipeline. How are you going to create jobs while cancelling major projects?
Well, this is these pipeline projects that Mr. Trudeau is putting forward are actually raw bitumen export projects. And when you look at Canada over the last 30 years, one of our biggest exports has been jobs. We send out of the country raw logs, raw minerals, and now the proposal around raw bitumen. That doesn't give value-added or manufacturing jobs. So having worked in an oil refinery, I know full well that what we actually need to do is have value-added jobs here in Canada, and to ensure that we're making the transition to clean energy. Other countries have created hundreds of thousands of jobs by putting a real focus on moving to cleaner energies, and what we need to do is follow those good examples that we've seen. The other thing that I notice when we look at our manufacturing sector, we're actually last in the industrialized world in research and development. And so by opening the doors to post-secondary education and ensuring that we're really investing in research and development, we'll be building the jobs of tomorrow.
All right, lots been made of the fact that you are so far the only candidate that has come forward. There is a debate, an official debate on the books for March the 12th. So what happens on March the 12th if you're the only guy running?
No, I won't be talking to myself. I know there'll be other candidates, very good candidates, emerging in the coming weeks.
Do you want to break some news for us here and tell us who?
Well, they'll be making their announcements, I'm sure. But we've struck a chord over the last week. We've had hundreds of people, both New Democrats and also folks from outside the party, a lot of younger Canadians that like the approach that we're taking. So we've had a lot of contacts online and people signing up for the campaign. I was endorsed this week by 4 members of the federal NDP caucus. That's 10% of our caucus in Sherbrooke, Quebec. And so we're sensing some real support, people liking the ideas we're putting forward. But it's going to be a long conversation, as you know. It's an 8-month process, and there'll be lots of debates, lots of discussions. We're hoping to bring new people into the party as well, and New Democrats will have those conversations and discussions, and there'll be a number of candidates that will be putting forward different points of view. That's welcome. It's good for the party, and it's good for the country, ultimately, because since Jack Layton's breakthrough in 2011, we're now the third national party, and we're a strong alternative for Canadians. So we have to speak out loudly for regular families, and we have to present these kinds of alternatives that are different from the same old that we're seeing in Ottawa.
I think you're the only politician that I've ever spoken to in a leadership race that's actually hoping other candidates join in to compete.
Yes, absolutely. We want to have these discussions. It's very important for the future of our country. The different points of view, have those discussions and debates, and ultimately the party members and the new members that are going to join our party will make the decision about who they feel is best to move our party forward.
Mr. Julian, thanks for your time today.
Oh, my pleasure.
Just a reminder, the NDP will select its new leader by October 29th, and we'll plan on speaking with each of the leadership candidates as soon as they officially enter the race. And according to Mr. Julian, there's some coming.